So, the Diamond Sutra, quote unquote, the highest teaching to ever exist. Now, I say quote unquote because teachings are always evolving, and a teaching is most important when it comes to the right person at the right time. So I feel right now that I am recording this video at the right time about the Diamond Sutra. I am going to explain it even though I don't fully understand all of it yet. I haven't studied it quite enough to be an expert in it. But I do understand a lot of the framework, and that's why I'm getting this video started. So one of the main things that the Diamond Sutra talks about is that for someone to teach this sutra to others will grant them essentially more prosperity, especially in a spiritual way, than anything else, anything in the physical world could ever compare to. And selfishly, I am doing that a little bit for myself, but also because I realize that there's intense value in the teaching. And what the teaching really boils down to is that there is no existence or non-existence. There is only what is. And what is not what you think is. What you think is you're a human being on planet Earth, living a limited life with limited power, knowledge, only present at one location. But this is actually not the case. And this is what Buddhism teaches, is that there is no self. And no self even does not do it justice, because no self is still just a concept. No self is still just human words, English words. And there are probably even better languages to describe this concept of no self. But what you really have to understand is that you do not exist. You don't. And that's how your God, who doesn't exist too, that's how it all makes sense, is what you are, what you think you are, is this ego structure maintaining itself as a separate entity from the world. But there is actually only no separation in truth. The separation between you and another being, or you and a rock, or you and a cigarette, is all mental. Now, reality is all mental. So, when there's a mental separation, there is a real separation. But the idea of the Diamond Sutra in Buddhism in general is that you can come to a reality where you live beyond concepts. And in that, you become enlightened. And in that, you become wise. And in that, you become just, fair, compassionate. Any positive trait that you could imagine. So that's what I'm talking about here, is you don't have to exist. You'll still have a human body, so to say. You'll still have a human mind. You'll still have desires. You'll still have possessions. But this is really about dying before you die, which I've done on a couple occasions. But the main one was 10 tabs of LSD taken by a person who has manic depressive disorder, or otherwise known as bipolar disorder type 1, and generalized anxiety disorder. These disorders amplified the effect of this high dose of LSD. And now I come here to you today to teach to you about consciousness and about existence and about non-existence and about the non-existence of existence and existence. Oh, sorry, existence and non-existence. The non-existence of all is actually the existence of all. And the rationalist, the scientist, the philosopher will say, well, Brandon, that's just circular reasoning. That's just circular reasoning. Well, I'll tell you how circular reasoning works and why it works. Because you encircle the truth by seeing things from enough perspectives to where you're literally drawing a circle. If you think of your point of view and you draw one dot on a piece of paper, that's like a normal logical way of thinking. You see something from one perspective. And then if you see something from another perspective, it becomes a line. And then if you see something from another perspective, you connect that line to the new line. And eventually you get to a circle, a perfect circle. When you've seen things from enough perspectives to where you've actually gone beyond perspective. And that's when you truly get it. That's when you start making spiritual progress on the deepest level. So what I want you to know about the Diamond Sutra is that it is an immensely powerful teaching, and there's a free English audiobook reading of it online on YouTube. So do a search of that. Do yourself a favor. Do your no self a favor. And search that up. And I can assure you that if you follow what's in the teachings, it will make your life better. But it will make your life so much better to the point where if you follow it enough, you will not have a life. And in that, you will have eternal life. And in that, you will have everything you could have ever wanted. So, yeah, some extraordinary claims, but that's what comes along with an extraordinary teaching. And that's what the Diamond Sutra is. I've noticed for me, it's a form of meditation to listen to the sutra. Because my mind becomes still, because this is what my mind is seeking, is spiritual knowledge above all else, spiritual wisdom, spiritual experiences. And my mind becomes still when I'm listening to this, more so than even when I'm trying to meditate or take psychedelics or anything. When I'm listening to the right teaching and the right moment, my mind is transcended. Myself is transcended. So, I hope that you can get the same things out of the teaching as I have. I've listened to it on a few occasions, and I intend to listen to it many, many more times, because there's so much depth in what is said there that, my simple 8-minute video isn't going to do it justice. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. And subscribe if you want to see more content like this, more spiritual content, more consciousness content. And with that, I will leave you for today. Thanks for watching. With love, Brandon.